three things, no? PDC, no? Profit optimization, data generation, and cost reduction. No? Profit optimization, because you will by leveraging on technology, by leveraging on mobile, you'll be able to access more consumers, and with that you could do so much cross-selling. You could tap practically everyone across the spectrum. In terms of data generation, because as we all know, data is the new oil, right? So how can you ensure that you know your customers well, and in terms of trying to second guess their needs, their wants, and being able to really address those pain points and be able to provide them the service that they really deserve. In terms of cost reduction, definitely you are introducing efficiencies along the way. I mean, you remove or you eliminate silos, for example, in any organization. You simplify the process. There is seamless execution of all your efforts. I mean, there's cultural change in terms of mindset, in terms of you eliminating the traditional legacy thinking, and practically embracing disruption. The introduction of customer centricity is at the core of whatever we do in any organization. For example, for RCBC, that has been the thrust of not just management, but every employee in the organization. Because I'm not even talking about customer centricity per se, but I would coin it as human-centric culture, because being human-centric means also trying to appeal to their emotions, right? How do you now engage your customer through their emotions, right? How do you now connect? How do you now ensure that there is impact, that you are trying to providing the convenience, the things that they would need in terms of addressing the gaps that you have identified. So I think those are the things that I think would be critical in terms of having that mindset on customer or human-centric culture within the organization. That every employee, regardless of rank, has to have that mindset. Definitely, I think the Philippines is one of the luckiest countries in the world where you have a very dynamic and progressive regulator. In the case of BSP, they are at the forefront of providing enabling regulatory framework. They are one of the very few regulators in the world that introduce what we call the regulatory sandbox, or the test and learn approach, where regulation following innovations, right? So they won't hinder innovations just for you to be able to provide initiatives or products or services that would uplift the lives of Filipinos. Because I think they were able to embrace the fact that technology would level the playing field, right? The technology would be key in terms of addressing the issues of the unbanked and underserved. I call them FADS, or the Financial Access Deficient segment in the Philippines, because we've seen the impact of all of this regulatory framework or enabling regulations now, because we've seen a rise or the increase in terms of digital adoption of consumers when it comes to digital financial transactions. Yes, it is sustainable. I totally agree with that, and that is the way forward. Open banking through open APIs, collaboration, co-opetition. I used to call that financial symbiosis or finbiosis, wherein leveraging on each other's strengths. It is more of how you collaborate with each other. I mean, how you champion or how you push open banking, because again, at the end of the day, the challenges or the problem is too enormous for a single player to take on, right? We will see some traction, we will see more examples or more implementation of an open banking setup, wherein practically having to have those several open APIs being exposed by banks and fintechs for easy integration, because the name of the game is really quick execution or quick implementation or speed to market. I think now even banks are trying to keep pace with the technology, with the disruption, right? It's more of having to test the market and try to iterate along the way, because again, there is no such thing as a perfect product, right? So it depends on how open you are in terms of listening to the sentiments of your consumers, in terms of adjusting to their needs, and how flexible you are for them to be able to adapt to your products or services easily. So, and also, how do you ensure that what you are trying to push to the market would be more of a demand-driven proposition rather than supply-driven?